Hey everyone, it's Carolyn. Welcome to the channel. So I've been seeing a lot of different videos here on YouTube where people take ChatGPT and they test it out with different recipes or different things within their niche to see how well this AI does at helping them with whatever it is they're looking into. So basically today I'm going to be seeing if AI is going to be replacing tarot readers. So the first thing I did was I wanted to see if the AI system itself would give me a tarot card reading without me doing anything. Because I know there's a couple different apps where they will just give you like a daily tarot card and that's your message for the day. And so I wanted to see if this AI system would give me a random tarot card for my message. Now when I did this, AI did not actually give me a tarot card. It said that it is not made to do that, and instead it recommended how I can do my own tarot reading with my own deck. So then I decided I was going to do my own tarot readings, and what I wanted to do with these is I wanted to compare the answers that I got with what AI thought those cards meant. So I asked the chat what are the best questions to ask your tarot deck, and it ended up giving me 10 different questions. And overall, the questions that it recommended to me were actually better than I anticipated. I thought it was going to be the generic future questions of what is going to happen. And while there were a couple questions that lend that way, a lot of them were also focused on self-improvement, and even the questions about the future seemed to be rooted back to some level of self-improvement or self-understanding, which is really beneficial because a lot of times people don't realize that tarot is a great tool to get to understand yourself better and develop your own sense of intuition. Now, I did not want to be asking 10 questions about myself in one day. So I asked the chat if it could give me 3 out of the 10 questions for me to ask today. So what I'm going to do to see if AI is going to take over tarot readers' jobs is I went ahead, I shuffled the cards according to these questions, and then I gave my own interpretations on them. And then I went ahead and I plugged the same cards in for the questions that I got, and we're going to compare my reading with the reading of the AI chat system. So the first question that it gave me was, what do I need to know about my current situation? So I wanted to know if AI would give me a specific area or situation of my life to ask about, because typically I think this is a question that if you're going to a tarot reader with, you're gonna have something specific in mind, or you're gonna pick a different reading to do. So because this one was specific to a situation, I asked AI if it could give me like scenarios and stuff, and it gave me different areas of my life, but it would not tell me which one it wanted me to read on that day. So I ended up just picking for myself, but that is something typically if you are going to do a tarot reading on yourself or have someone else read your tarot cards, that's typically a question that you're only going to have for specific things. When you just want a general reading, typically you'll just ask for a general reading and see whatever the cards come up with. You're not going to be asking what do you need to know about blank. And so that's something that I noticed right away, is that the AI system's not going to know that you don't have a situation to read on, whereas the tarot reader through your conversation is going to figure that out, and they're not going to waste time pulling cards on a situation just for the sake of focusing in on something so specific, because sometimes when we are pulling cards, we actually don't need to pull on a specific situation, and the message will be overarching for life and we can apply it where it needs to be taken. So the first question that ChatGPT told me to ask my tarot cards is, what do I need to know about this current situation? So I'm going to pull some cards on a situation that involves me and some other people in my life, and I'm going to see what cards I get, and then I'll explain that a little bit more as I go. So we got a stack of cards jump out. We have the Sun, 9 of Wands, 8 of Wands, 6 of Wands. The back of the deck is the Ace of Wands. So from my perspective as a tarot reader, the Sun indicates a lot of success. It indicates a happiness about it because the Sun is joy and it's prosperity. It's the life force. And then you have the 6 of Wands. Now the 6 of Wands also is success. It's victory and having that public recognition. Now the 9 of Wands indicates a little bit of a struggle. It indicates some hardships, but then the 8 of Wands represents a very fast moving energy. So when you take all these separate individual meanings of the cards and you link them together in one tarot reading, it indicates to me that overall things are going to be successful, but there is a challenge. But this challenge is going to die out fast. It's going to be resolved quickly, and it's all going to be successful. And even the back of the deck energy, the Ace of Wands represents this creative spark, this fun idea, this exciting situation basically. Because the Wand suit represents this very quick-paced energy that's very adventurous. It's very much an energy that is either about creativity or exploring. And the aces in tarot represent that first step. And so overall, it means that there's something creative here that's going to be worked upon to find this solution. And it's going to work out in a way that's enjoyable for the people that are involved. Another thing to take note of is that the wand suit does represent the ego, because it represents those masculine-based emotions. And so when you're dealing with the ego, things are a lot more sensitive. There's a lot more room for things to be a little bit more volatile. So for my current situation, what this is indicating to me is that overall everything's going to work out. Everything's going to go to plan. There is a couple people that are involved where there is a difference of opinions and things are not going as swimmingly, but the Nine of Wands represents an energy in which you can overcome it. You just have to be determined. And I think with this situation, if we just wait it out and continue to try and solve it, it's going to be solved, and I think it's actually going to be resolved quickly. So this also indicates to me that very soon someone might be changing their mind, or things are going to start working out in which everyone kind of gets a little bit of what they want. So there might be some sacrifice here, but it's sacrifice that's for the better, and it's sacrifice that everyone is accepting of. And so it feels like there's compromises, but it's not major compromises where I'm going to be disappointed with the outcome. I feel like this is indicating that the moment of struggle with these people is almost over, and we're going to be reaching a consensus soon, and then just start moving towards this goal. And so I see this as a very optimistic reading. It's something where it's being realistic about the present moment, but showing that this energy is going to pass and it's going to get back to where it was supposed to be in the first place. So now I'm very interested to see what the AI takes of these cards and how it applies it to the situation. So when I asked the AI system about the tarot card meanings, it gave me the individual meanings for each of the cards, and then it gave me the overall meaning. So when it came to the individual meaning of the tarot cards, I thought that this system was very accurate with that. Tarot is based on a set of structured rules, so the meanings for the cards are always going to be the same with the Rider-Waite-Smith system. So you can see that this chat definitely has been programmed with that system, and a lot of the keywords that they said about the individual cards matched with what I had picked up during my reading. And then when it comes to the overall message of the reading, I thought that the chat did a very good job of being accurate. I think obviously there's going to be different ways that things are phrased or different ways that things are said, but overall the base message was the same, and that was that this situation is going to pass. There's going to be a solution that comes up in the near future, and overall it looks like I'm going to be happy with the outcome. So that matches pretty well with what I was saying. So I would say as far as this first question, AI was pretty accurate. Now the next question that it told me to ask my cards is, what are the challenges that I need to overcome? Now something to take note of about the way that I'm doing these readings is that the AI did not specify that these readings are all connected. It told me to ask these 3 separate questions. So I'm taking them as literally as they're written out. And so the first situation, I applied that to something specific because it was indicating that it was on one area of my life. It was on one situation. But now this question is just talking about challenges I need to overcome. So I'm not going to specify anything. I'm going to leave this vague and leave it up to the cards to tell me what the challenge is and what I need to overcome. So let's see what cards I get. So the Queen of Cups, the High Priestess reversed, and the King of Cups reversed. The Fool, Nine of Pentacles reversed, and Six of Cups reversed. So typically when I pull cards on myself, I'm seen as a Queen of Cups. So I feel like the challenges that it's telling me I have to overcome, a lot of this is internal stuff that's calling me out for. I feel like it's not talking about my external issues. I think it's talking about my own mindset with things as of lately. And so a lot of the cards are reversed. And I think that's because I've been putting a lot of stress on myself lately, and I've been putting a lot of pressure on my own plate. And I think it's also making it where I am not necessarily always in sync with the messages that Spirit is trying to tell me. It's with this High Priestess reverse, it's like I see it, I understand it, but then I don't pay attention to it and I just ignore it. So I'm not actually taking warning of the things that I'm being told. And with the King of Cups being reversed right now, I'm not entirely balanced. I'm not keeping a good structure with my routine, and in turn that is kind of affecting my mood in some ways that other people can take notice of. And so the two cards there are telling me that I need to take notice of this and start balancing things in order to make these cards turn upright again. With the Fool, I feel like that's my energy right now because I keep on taking on a lot of responsibility and adding more things to my plate. And so it's like I'm taking on all this stuff and it's not necessarily feasible, but yet I'm not saying no. And so I'm kind of being a bit naive with how much that I can do. And so again, that stress with the Six of Cups reversed is making it where I'm like so focused on the things that I'm working towards and the goals that I'm trying to attain that I'm like, oh, it's okay, because once this happens, then I'll be able to relax. And I keep saying it's temporary. And I feel like these cards right now with tarot, it's telling me that's great if it is temporary, but this keeps becoming a habit and that end goal keeps moving. And so it's not necessarily true. And so in order to overcome this, you got to create a way to actually get yourself out of it. Because with the Nine of Pentacles reversed, this is a card that talks about independence. And it's a card that is about reaping your rewards. And so I can't achieve everything that I'm working for when I keep planting things and moving things and changing things around. And I keep doing too much that things aren't ready to come into my life. And I'm also not then accepting of it because I'm so busy with everything going on in my life that it's like I'm not focused on receiving that independent thing. I'm too focused on the majority of things that it's taken away from what I actually need to pay attention to, and therefore I can't really put my full effort into it. And so I feel like when it comes to overcoming these challenges, it's telling me like what these challenges are and how to overcome them is by grounding myself, focusing, saying no to some stuff and stop acting like a fool when it comes to how much I can do, so that I can start enjoying things again instead of rushing through them, trying to complete them, trying to catch up, and trying to run to the next thing because I put too much on my plate. And so by grounding myself, I'll be able to pay attention to the messages, get things more balanced, make all these reverse cards become upright. And then when these cards are upright, it creates a more balanced dynamic where I'm receiving messages, I'm paying attention to them, I'm listening to Spirit, I'm balancing my life, I'm going out and taking risks that have actually been thought out that are actually going to be beneficial, and therefore I can receive the rewards for the things that I've done. They can come in and I can start to collect on them, and therefore then not only receive the benefits but also share those benefits with others. So I'm going to be very interested to see what ChatGPT thinks about these cards, because there's so many reversals and there's so many mixed messages on reversals. I don't know if it's going to be entirely accurate because there's so many different ways that people read reversals. There's some people who don't even read them at all, and some people they read them as opposites, whereas other people they read them as nuances, whereas other people they read them as something that's important. And so there's so many like arguments in the tarot community about what a reversal means, and that I don't know if the AI is going to be able to read it the same way that a human can with the knowledge and the nuance of the situation. Because the way that I read reversals, it kind of changes based on the reading and what else I'm sensing. But the AI isn't able to sense anything. They can only go with what they've been programmed to do. So then for the second question, what challenges do I need to overcome? I think the individual card meanings again are accurate. So the reverse cards actually impressed me. I actually think that the reverse meanings make a lot of sense for the cards and the reversal system that I typically tend to use. And so I think if you're wanting to learn reversals, this might be a good way to start that process and compare the meanings with the AI system. I think where it loses me a little bit is with the overall message when it tries to create the story for the cards together. I think it's taking too many of the separate definitions and piecing them together, and it's creating this jumble of things that I need to overcome. I don't think the AI chat has the nuances to see how each of the cards kind of relate and play with one another. And instead, it's taking the individual messages and kind of just comparing them with one another, and then whatever isn't in one card, it replaces it with the other, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like it has a list of the separate meanings for all the cards, and if the same meanings are on multiple cards, it will only list it once. But then if one card has a meaning and the other one doesn't, it's going to automatically put it there. Whereas when people are doing the readings, you're understanding what's important and what's not, because the cards have so many different meanings and they're so multifaceted. There's going to be definitions and meanings for them that don't always apply when you have another card, because the cards overall, they play off one another and they either enhance the meaning or they point out the specific thing. So the combination of the cards together was telling me where the imbalance in my life is, how it's affecting me emotionally and what I need to do to let go of it. Whereas the AI system is seeing everything as its separate thing, and it's not really connecting how it correlates to one another. So you kind of lose that connectiveness when you use the chat system. So then the last question that it told me to ask is, how can I bring more balance and harmony into my life? So again, life is general, so I'm just going to pull the cards and see what they say. So I got the Four of Pentacles. I have the Sun, the Six of Pentacles. It came out a little bit reversed, so I flipped it upright so I could see it better, but I'm going to keep that in mind as I understand the meaning. And the Emperor. The back of the deck energy is Temperance, which I actually love because that means balance and harmony. So I think that's very fitting considering what we are asking about. So the Four of Pentacles is an energy that is a little bit of a hoarder. It's someone who is holding on to what they have and not letting it go, understanding what they have and keeping it very close to their chest. And so there's someone where they're a little bit selfish. They're not really letting a lot of people in. They're not letting a lot of people take what they have. But then we have the Sun card, which again is that positivity, it's that happiness, that joy, prosperity. Then the Six of Pentacles came out. Now the Six of Pentacles is literally balance. It is talking about a give and a take energy. Now it did come out reversed, which is indicating that it is a little bit imbalanced, and part of bringing balance into my life is by understanding that and correcting it. And then there's the Emperor. Now the Emperor is interesting because he represents an energy of a leader. He represents the energy of someone who has to make a lot of decisions, and he's in control of things. He's the final authority, and so what he says goes. He's the one making those decisions, but in turn he has to be very level-headed when making those decisions to make sure that they're actually beneficial. And so the word popping into my head with these cards and the story that they're telling me is refinement, because there's an energy here of holding on to what you have but improving it, making it better, finding balance within it. And part of finding balance with it is no longer adding more to the plate, no longer doing things that is taken away from me. There's an energy here about being a little bit more selfish, and so I think this is indicating putting myself first a little bit more and focusing on balancing the things in my life to actually bring me joy and make sense for me instead of just doing them because I want to help or because I feel like I need to. And there's an energy that I need to reflect upon the things that I'm doing and understand why I'm doing them and if they make sense for me to do. And if they don't make sense for me to do, then I probably shouldn't be doing them, because the Emperor here is someone where they don't waste their time doing things that is unimportant. They have too much on their plate, and so they have to be selfish and selective with what they do choose to do. And there's a little bit of an unbalanced energy in my life where giving and receiving isn't in alignment together, leaning too much towards doing too much instead of taking for myself. And so that's creating an imbalance in my life. And so in order to get back into balance, I need to be a little bit more selfish, receive a little bit more, stop giving as much until I get things back in order and I bring this balance into my life. And I think it's also telling me that for the areas of my life that I'm too private about with this Four of Pentacles, I then also need to share them more, let more people know about them and let them know my headspace and my thoughts and what I'm trying to do as far as my goals. I don't have to keep everything so private. And so by doing that, it's going to allow other people to help me, that I can then receive help from others instead of doing it all myself. Because right now it's like I'm giving, I'm doing, and I'm not receiving, I'm not taking, I'm not getting help. And I think that's what the disconnect is. Because the Emperor, he will have his advisors that he talks to. And I feel like right now I'm like hoarding everything private for me instead of actually allowing myself to do what's needed with them. I think I'm a little bit too stubborn with things at the moment, and that's what these cards are calling me out for. And in order to bring balance into my life, I need to stop being stubborn, and I need to be a little bit more open with some of the things and the ideas that I have going on. So once again, the individual card meanings I think make sense, but the overall message is where it kind of loses me. I think if I was someone where I did not know the tarot cards that well, the overall message is going to be a bit confusing because it's not connecting it, it's not explaining it well, it's just throwing a bunch bunch of words at you. So when it says focus on stability, positivity, relationships, and structure and balance, it's not really indicating how. It does go on to say by creating a sense of order and finding a healthy balance in all aspects of your life, you can bring more balance and harmony into your life. So there's this talk about order, but there's not necessarily this talk about how to do it and what the cards are explaining in order to bring order into your life. And so I feel like when it comes to this overall message, it's not exactly clear on what needs to be done to bring harmony in. It points out where there's a lack of balance in my life, but it's not pointing out how to gain that control, how to gain that order, what can be done, and what I can do in order to do that. Whereas in the cards, when I did the reading myself, I think that not only did the cards explain what was lacking, but it also showed by pointing out what was lacking, what can be done to improve it, to bring that order back in. And so that's where a tarot reader or you doing your own reading is going to be able to connect the dots and create the overall message in a way that makes sense, instead of just fitting pieces of the puzzle together and not having everything you need. And so overall, I don't think AI is stealing tarot readers' jobs just yet. I think that this is a great tool if you were new to tarot, if you're trying to learn it and you need to understand the individual meanings of the cards by themselves. I think maybe if you were someone where you're new to the tarot structure and you don't understand it yet, if you wanted to have your phone or your laptop or whatever next to you as you're doing a tarot reading, plug in the cards that you got, see the individual keywords, what those cards mean, and then connect the pieces yourself. I think that would be a great way to learn. And so I think that ChatGPT is actually a very useful tool for people who are new to learning tarot or who haven't fully grasped the concept of it yet, to put those pieces of the cards together, because there's so many cards in tarot. It is a little bit difficult to always keep track of what the tarot cards mean, especially if you're new to it. So I think that this is a great way, if you don't have a guidebook or if you don't really like your guidebook, to be able to look up the meanings in a very fast and efficient way instead of having to scroll through Google. But I think if you have trouble connecting the tarot card meanings together, or if you have trouble wording yourself in a way that makes sense, this is not necessarily going to help you out. This definitely gives you the book definitions of them and then pieces that together. It's not considering the nuances of everything. So there's still going to be that level of learning that you have to do yourself, but I think this is a great stepping stone. And so overall, I had a lot of fun making this video. I thought it was very interesting to see what AI could and couldn't do when it comes to tarot cards and helping people understand their readings a bit better. And so let me know if you've heard about ChatGPT before, and if you've used it, what have you used it for? I think it's very fun. And so if you like this video, definitely subscribe. I would love to have you a part of this family, and make sure you turn on that bell notification so you don't miss out when I post my next video. I post more random fun videos like this, but I also post different educational videos to help you all along with your spiritual journeys. And I also have an entire playlist on my channel to help you understand tarot meanings a little bit better. I relate them to different pop culture things like movies and TV shows and the characters and the scenes within them to help you be able to connect the cards with something that is relatable to you. I also post tarot readings every single month. So I do pick-a-pile readings, collective readings, and past life readings. And if you're interested in purchasing your own readings, I do sell them. You can check out my Etsy shop, or you can message me on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Every way to contact me is going to be in the description box down below. And so I hope to see you all in my next video. I hope you have a good one. Bye.